This segment brought to you by Kansas Regenerative Medicine Center. Your stem cells, your health, your life.
So being a beef specialist, my talk was really focused on integration of cattle within cropping systems and their benefit. As I summarized in the start of my talk, integration of cattle within cropping systems is a way to encourage sustainable production with economic and environmental benefits, all of which is our goals as agricultural producers. When we're specifically thinking about cover crops for cattle, we need to think about plant species selection, what grows, what doesn't, what cattle prefer, what is some of their palatable ones, what are some potential toxicities and issues, are some other management practices you need to think about before implementing an annual forage or a cover crop into your system. So some of the issues in association with integration of cattle within cropping systems, we just completed a study with the K-State Extension Group that found that the number one reason people don't put cattle in cropping systems is lack of fences, followed by water. So those are two big issues you have to worry about. And when you talk to most people, they still think compaction is an issue with cattle. Most of the research shows that you might see compaction in the top 2.54 centimeters or an inch. Luckily in Kansas, we have freeze-thaw cycles and a very diverse weather environment that breaks up that soil in the top inch, so it's not as big of an issue. Now, from the annual forage in a cattle side, I have actually a publication that addresses it, potentially toxic annual forages. Most of these annual forages have a metabolic issue or could be a metabolic issue for cattle, including some that are just flat out poisonous. One of them that's a wonderful cover crop but concerns me from a grazing perspective is hairy vetch. It's actually listed on the USDA's poisonous plant registry. And we don't really know what causes the issue. Certain cattle just appear to be allergic or susceptible to hairy vetch toxicity, and if they show signs, it's 50 to 100% lethal. So it can be an issue in your operation. So managing for toxicities, being able to contain your animals, and providing a water source are things to think about with integration of cattle and cropping systems. The beauty, the joy, and also the most frustrating thing about using annual forages within cropping systems and with cattle is you have so many goals and objectives. And so you really have to sit and think about, what is my purpose? Do I want to maximize cattle gains? Do I want to find something that fits in with my rotation? What are some potential detriments to each of those systems? So one thing, we're always wanting to try and find something to follow soybeans in our rotation, because most of the time that's when our fallow occurs. And sometimes in the southeast area, we might not have our soybeans come off till the 1st of December. There's really nothing you can plant December 1st that's really going to have much of a growth until maybe March. So when we've looked at trying to interseed some cover crops into our soybeans, some selection mistakes we've had are plants that grew taller than our beans, so we weren't able to harvest beans. So that's something you have to think about. You also have to think about, do you want to plant something that cattle are going to completely consume, or something they're going to shy away from to leave some available biomass out in your field? So you really have to come up with your operational goals from a cropping side, from a cattle side, and from a cash flow economic perspective.